What is the fastest way to learn how to draw and paint? Which method to use? Let's talk about different methods used in different art academies all around the world and compare pros and cons of each method so that you can come up with your own decision when it comes to considering which art academy to apply for and which method suits you better and ultimately which one is more worthy to spend money and time for. So let's go! Generally speaking, there are two main methods that dominate the scenario in the art academies all around the world. The first one is called the site size. The second one is called the constructive or analytical method. Let's address pros and cons for both and compare. So, what is site size? The site size method consists in an arrangement between the artist, the object, and the artwork that allows the artist to see its object and the artwork visually in a relationship one-to-one. So what are the core components of this method? First, a visual side-by-side arrangement. Second, a consistent vantage point. Third, drawing exactly what you see. Visual side-by-side arrangement means that pretty much you draw exactly what you see, and usually the artwork is made in the life size of the object. Your subject and the artwork should be viewed in one glance in a one-to-one relationship. Equally important is to always view your setup from the same vantage point. Drawing exactly what you see means that you should make your best attempt to accurately perceive what's visually in front of you and then record that observation identically. So what are the pros and cons of this method? First, it allows you to work with one model and one object in never-changing condition because your setup never changes. Second, you're not dependent on daylight because you're working with artificial light and with a limited palette with few colors on it. It allows you to create a perfectly looking image to the model and achieve likeness. But what are the cons of this method? First, it does not actually teach you how to draw and paint from your own imagination. Second, it limits you to hold on to the same vantage point throughout the whole development of the artwork. Third, it does not provide you with the understanding of the construction of the forms and using the full range of the color palette. So what is the constructive or analytical method? Constructive is conceptualizing the form, honing the anatomy knowledge, and thinking primarily in 3D. The goal of this method is to use the model as an inspiration and to create an artwork that is not just a mere copy of it. So what are the core components of this method instead? First, the main focus goes to the analysis of the form and the 3D construction. Second, the model or the object serves you as an inspiration, but is not meant to be copied exactly. Third, composition and vantage point are not confined to a specific position. Main focus goes to the analysis of the forms and 3D construction. Understanding the construction of each element and grasping fully to the three-dimensional nature of objects is the core of this method. Comprehension of anatomy, principle of perspective and proportions are essential to this approach. Model serves you as an inspiration but is not meant to be copied. The content of the form itself has a higher value than the observation. Once the foundation principles are synced in the comprehension and enough practice has taken place, the artist can draw or paint from the imagination without the use of the model. Composition and vantage point are not confined to a specific position. The artist can choose any distance or placement in relation to the model. If the conditions slightly change, the lighting or the position of the model, that doesn't affect the work dramatically. But what are the pros of this method? First, it teaches you to interpret the image based on universal principles and knowledge. Second, it enables you to draw and paint from your own imagination. Third, it provides you with a lot of information from different disciplines that are actually interconnected. As a result, the artist's development is actually more complete. But what are the cons of this method? First, it actually takes a lot of time to learn. Second, it takes a lot of discipline and brain work. Third, there are a few number of art schools in the world. First, it takes a lot of time. In order to master this method, you need a lot of time, and I mean a lot. Meanwhile, site size can be conquered in a year or two. Constructive method would require a minimum of 5 years of dedication and hard work to get good. It is certainly not a learn how to draw in 30 days project. Second, it takes a lot of discipline and brain work. This method is based on analysis. So the goal is not the creation of a flawless imitation of what we see in front of us, but instead is a constant process of exploration, examination and interpretation. In other words, is a lot of brain work. Third, the art schools that promote this method in the world are actually a fewer number. Since complex and time-consuming studies are not popular anymore in our one-click generation, the schools that promote this kind of education are fewer in the world and hard to find. So, after this little research and weighing pros and cons, I actually made my personal conclusion. For the artists who want to learn how to make perfect realistic image and sell the artwork, the best and the shortest way is site size. Meanwhile, for those who want to pursue a creative career in visual arts, draw from imagination and come up with new things, certainly the constructive method is better. Although constructive method is more complex and takes more time and hard to find, my personal preference will still go towards it. I also found out that successful artists who work in animation, design or illustration have had this kind of training at some point in their life. For example, Pixar and Disney industries are full of these creative professionals. So overall, the constructive approach proves to be a more whole-rounded, comprehensive education system which will give me more options for my future. Hey, if you want to see more videos like this one, please subscribe to our channel by clicking below and see you soon.